back
something, but I should
to
probably turn my UI off.
welcome back to the Galaxy. Oh my god.
That's not
uh,
what we're doing. This is the Lasso Truth podcast. What's
yeah,
wrong with
yeah.
you?
To the Lasso Fruit podcast. Sometimes we interview devs and sometimes we talk with community members. So now we have BumblingB and Spawn. They're joining me today, and they always gonna be on the podcast. And Proxy will join us on some episodes as well. But today just us three.
Well,
Um,
hello there.
Right? Howdy.
yeah. So we have a lot to talk about today, specifically because the producer letter came out. What are you guys'
Yeah.
general thought about the producer letter?
I just want to say for the podcast, we are both over and under prepared. You figure out how that works.
Yeah, we'll just wing it. It's off the cuff, right?
Yeah, it's fine. That's how podcasts work, right?
Absolutely.
If
Um,
uh, if I had something to quantify what the producer letter is more like not sure how to feel about it.
Hmm.
Like
See,
it's one of
this is
those
fair.
moments that it's promising a lot of stuff that's like, oh yeah, that sounds interesting, and there's other things that I'm just like, ooh, that's not going to be fun at all.
yeah, for a person
So,
on.
just out of curiosity, because I only really skimmed over the producer letter and saw like a lot of the pinpoint sort of stuff. What did you see where you were like, ooh, maybe not?
I don't like the fact that the gear for the weapons, the plans or whatever it is going to be from Elite only. I really don't like that. Like they need to
Oh, I'm
make it
sorry.
where
Wait, where is that?
that they're going to be introducing R&D plans for
Uh-huh.
your elite weapons and jewelry. I believe that's what it said,
Yeah,
and it's going to
completely.
be elite content only.
They're overhauling the renown system.
They're overall the renown systems
Um,
that's
that
proof
actually
positive.
doesn't sound like a bad thing to me in the sense that like it's giving us things for Elite that we haven't previously had, right? So it's not really like it's taking away anything. You know what I mean?
In the past, though, when they introduced the elite weapons and rings, they were part of those bounty DLCs. So it ends up being one of those things that's sort of like, well, yeah, it makes sense that it would be in the elite only, but like you just open up the renown system to the entire game at any level, you can get elite stuff, but nah, the weapons now are the new chase, which is something that we had when they first introduced elite content, because that was the only way you could actually get elite gear was it was a dropped only.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like two steps forward, three steps backwards, and it sort of puts you back at the same spot that you were at.
There
So
always has to be a reason to play Elite, though, right? Because otherwise, it's like, what's the point if you're still getting
well, that
renown? I mean, maybe
that
to get
was
it
always
quicker, but that's about it. Like,
that was
Yeah.
always one of the things that I was always like wondering about. The reason why Elite was first introduced is because of a previous community, sorry, not community, creative director did not like how people could recover from a near wipe experience, and so he just wanted to limit the amount of times that you were going to be able to get knocked out. And so it ended up we getting elite content right afterwards. So it was one of those moments that's sort of like, yeah, is elite content even necessary anymore? You know, they
mhm.
increased recently the EEG stuff to four revives, so it's a total of like what five I think that would be. When you get into EEG, of course, Elite Plus is still one death I think, and so
Mhm.
it's sort of like a trade-off. Like Elite content is something that a lot of people um, are excited to have, but I think a lot of them have put like an unnecessary like expectation on it because like it's still the same exact content, just possibly more mechanics in it, or just they just hit harder depending on what content that they're having. So I'm one of those guys that's sort of like I think a leak should have stayed in the past and then move
Mhm.
forward with the new devs and making decisions. Because I'll be honest, as much as like I hated Origin Crisis, it still probably is one of those better options for like what you can expect for how the game used to be and how hard it was. Albeit now it's been, gutted until to the extent that it's no longer like even difficult unless you're pugging it randomly.
Yeah, because back then you really had to put the effort, right? You couldn't just fool through it when it was
Yeah,
our yeah.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
I'm
it's
Uh,
yeah, because I'm thinking that Guild Wars 2, really can't get into the raids at all unless you really know what you're doing, unless you really know the mechanics, because you can wipe very easily. And I don't think people realize that most MMOs don't let you just finish the raid on day one. It takes days and weeks and months.
yeah, and a lot of the expectations that people have is like, oh, I'm gonna come in there and I'm gonna smash it like right when it starts. That's how it's been the case since tier four. A lot of people, have done that because like in the classic game, when the original tier two and a little bit later tier three, uh, the original tier two and three, I know that that's changed. So like the bat
Very
caves,
confusing to talk about now.
yeah, I know the bat caves and the crypt and the Kryptonian raids, they were difficult not just because of like the content, but like our characters were just that much weaker. You know, the
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
fact that we have like power creep that continues, it creates this new um, thought process of like, well, like we'll just get the gear and max out the gear from the previous DLC, and then we'll just smash the next raids, and all these elite content people that are, like requiring this face melting content, they didn't really play the game back in the day. Like, they didn't really feel how the game used to be, where it the difficulty was also trying to, coordinate with your team members, trying to figure out how to do rotations. You know, light was considered a power set that was completely useless until like basically Origin Crisis, and a couple of like community members like came up with a rotation that just made it like the strongest single target power set in the game, and then suddenly everyone else was doing it, and it became this monster of its own right that even trickled into like PvP. Like you could lock somebody up in PvP where they just could not move because of the high clipping that was going with it. It was an interesting time period that we had, that it's difficult to try to get that, and I do kind of feel like a lot of the people that are expecting the leak content to be is that they have a somewhat of a feeling of how it was, but in the current landscape, and especially now with a lot of the changes that is going on with like our power strength, like it's never gonna quite end up that way unless they completely and utterly like do what they did before and do a whole like a stat flattening and so on. And it'll be interesting how this goes forward. So with that saying, in the negative side, the positive side, there's actually a few things that I actually like, the count wide cash sharing, and
That's long overdue. Yeah.
yeah, oh, the heroes
Agreed.
and villains being able to group together. Now that's something that I've been advocating since I don't know how long now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It was such an unnecessary thing to like block that. Like, why? Like, who does that benefit?
Clearly,
Well, I mean,
but Villain's side is dead, so clearly it was about time to put us all together because they're not planning to make villain content. So
yeah,
Right.
and I think that is part of it. The other part of it is that like the game really was intended to be like PvP primarily. Like they were intending people to actually like do PvE and PvP together,
yeah,
and it just diverged at the moment that they realized that PvP was not one of their primary resources for the game. And I think that the last hurrah was when we had Last Laugh, and I think the devs realized after that it's like, yeah, we can't really put resources towards PvP side, so we'll have it, but it won't be as forefront in that regard.
yeah, because they haven't
It
updated
is kind of
PvP.
funny that you say that because it kind of shows that it's like everyone that talks about PvP now and how they miss it. I feel like it's a lot of the times coming from a place of nostalgia because PvP would have continued if people were playing it,
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
but
yeah,
people
no,
really weren't playing it
absolutely.
as much as people talk about, I think.
And there was a couple like moments where PvP was at its highlight. Like I want to say like right before the 2014 SOE Live tournament that we had. It was like that point where like, oh, this is actually could potentially be a what is it, like a esport thing. And being at that SOE Live like tournament in person, like I was actually a contestant, got knocked out really quickly because I'll be honest, I'm not very good at the game, and I was having some struggle with like using the peripherals that they had there. Like I'm just my own keyboard. I was so used to it, and
Mm.
That's fair.
then my partner was just a random person. We weren't like going in and teaming up and knowing how to do stuff.
There was no plan. It was just like we're doing it. We're winging it. Leroy
Yeah.
Jenkins, let's go.
So it was one of those moments that is sort of just like, yeah, I was expected to not win, but I was still in it. It
It's a
was
cool thing
it
to be a
was
part of.
it had too many exploits that ended up being like needing to be fixed, and that's when the devs were going to try to fix it. Not to get into anything, there was some things that happened and it got put on hold, and because it was put on hold, it just sort of fell to the wayside. Now it's that nostalgia is what you're talking about. Like people just
Mhm.
want to be able to do that because they remember how it was, but it would take a significant amount of resources to try to bring it back to that point, and I don't think that they're looking at that because it's not like financially viable, at least at this time.
Same with PvE
To
though.
play,
I'm talking about Legends PvE. They never update it and never add new maps, new legends, so it's kind of there, but no resources are going through it.
The fun fact
yeah,
about that is,
I can't speak for the current dev team because I don't know much about them, but it's very much the classic dev team to realize that there's an issue with something and instead of fixing it, they just do something else and hope that we kind of forget about it and move on.
well, the fun fact about the Legends PvE thing, it was not completely on their table. Like it was Locke and a couple other devs that were doing it sort of on their own time. So it actually was introduced as sort of like, well, Spittle wanted to have like something for people to do, and we'll just put a chase in there, and now we have a shoot ton of feats to be able to
Are we
actually.
allowed to swear? Are we swearing on
Yeah,
this?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I had to correct myself there.
You can, that's fine.
I heard that. He's like, there was a shoot ton.
Pretty much.
Uh,
There was a bunch of feats that were introduced because the players were asking for something like that, and then so like, and Spittle was like, okay, and then so he asked Locke and a couple other ones. That was something done on sort of on the side. It wasn't like part of like the DLC thing. So like money wise, that's why it was introduced free as opposed to being part of like a paid DLC or I guess episodes or whatever.
Yeah,
So
but Legends cost
I mean, a
money.
and
free-to-play game having free content that's pretty revolutionary for its time.
well, I mean, like, you also had like a rebalancing of it. So there was a couple other instances in the game that were introduced that were basically done on the developers like own time, like those
Hmm.
mentor quests, duos,
Oh,
I think. Yeah,
yeah.
they're duos, right? Tier whatever number that they are now.
Tier
Uh
2, I
Talking about
believe.
the Legends like PvE missions.
yeah, no, your level.
Like
The
Shadowlands,
chat.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Shadowlands, the
oh,
Quick
gotcha.
Luther one, the Holodoom, and things like that. Those are all done by Locke. He literally was the only one that worked on those. So,
Yeah.
and it was interesting because like you have that kind of stuff that was introduced to try to help balance the transition because they had right before that they had rebalanced like where some of the content was in the early game. This was the very first time that they readjusted like the tiers, and so like there was like this weird gap that needed for like low man content, and that was the fix, and it was a good fix because it also allowed players who did not have those mentors to be able to actually get some of the feats that were actually part of those mentor quests. So that was actually kind of nice. Getting to the fact that this is a good segue into the chapter thing. Like, what is your guys' feel on that kind of system that they're going to be introducing?
Well, since I really like reading the comics as well, and I'm sure we have a lot of players that enjoy reading the comics, I think what's always been missing in DCO is actual storytelling because everything goes so fast. You see what happens, it's over. So now you have a chance to actually experience this because it's not just one episode, kind of like the Lead Metal. It goes for a few episodes. So
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting ready to say. We've had things kind of similar with that with Dark Knight's Metal. I guess they're trying to do more of that, which I would really like. That would be awesome to have like continuous storylines that actually go through and follow up with each other, and it's not just all smushed into one episode that you play through in a day when the episode drops, and then you're like, okay,
yeah, it's
Yeah,
that's what happens with that.
the one thing I'm about cautious about it is that like how are they going to monetize it? I mean, I think that's been
Sure.
the sort of the voice of
I
like
mean,
a
that's
lot of
everything right now. Everything new
yeah
that's been happening recently is okay. Well, how are they making money on it this time?
yeah because like before the the pandemic happened or when the
Hmm.
big like everyone was
COVID.
home. Yeah. Before that happened, like they had introduced the sort of the free model of like the entire game being free for like I think it was the Wonder Woman in 2019 or something like that before, and then they brought it back during the pandemic and sort of semi-indefinitely, where like the lockout timers for like free players and premium players had a different than if they didn't own it, they had a different one than like legendary and the ones who own the content. And it was actually an interesting model. Are they going to be bringing something like that back? Is it going to be like if you're legendary, you get all episodes for free, and then now you have to like pay again?
Yeah.
It
I think that's
like
kind of the give and take, where it's like, for the past like 4 or 5 years, the game is the most free to play that it's ever been. So now this is kind of like the backlash from that. This is the what's following up because they did that, you know?
yeah, and they're definitely putting episodes on the line. I think also this also kind of does free up the at least the creative team to be able to actually like maybe have an overarching story that doesn't have to be fully developed out at like
How about
launch.
some lore about the fact that our characters are exobites, even though, we're two iconics here? I think it'd still be cool to reach further into that, like, have actual lore for our characters.
Being able
Not
to
just
actually,
like,
I mean,
here, you're part of the Dark Knight's Metal storyline now because we decided that.
I have a I don't like the metal storyline, and I actually detested the fact that it took up like what 7 years of the game.
I
it,
mean,
it took this
personally, I
long.
liked it, but that's fair.
But yeah, it was one of those moments of sort of like it'll be interesting to see how they go with that. I'd like to see uh, how that's going to be done.
I'm
Um,
wondering, considering the screenshot they posted, which episode it's going to be, like which story they're following, because we're seeing like a dungeon, we're seeing a park, a snowy park, and a graveyard. So I'm like,
I
I don't know,
disconnect.
but the storylines, or not the storyline, sorry, the art direction is amazing. I love the vibes that I'm getting from both the screenshots that they gave us.
where did
It'll be
BumblingB
interesting
go?
how they go with that.
The environments are really good. They
Yeah.
cooked real hard with the environments.
B, where did you go?
I I was not touching my game, and so I idled out for 15 minutes. So
Oh no,
Oh, you disconnected. Okay, you just come
I'll
back.
be right back. I'll be right back.
his
That's-
scarab told him to go somewhere else.
yeah, technical difficulties. That's why
Yeah,
I keep moving my mouse all the time.
Fun fact: Ted could never use the scarab.
Oh,
fair enough.
It
I
was one
wouldn't
of those.
know. I'm gonna be honest. I know nothing of Blue Beetle.
same. But it's
Except
cool to
no,
learn.
no wait. Let me tell you the one bit of knowledge I know of Blue Beetle, and that's that he was on the DS version of the Batman Brave and the Bold game. That's about it.
He was. I actually did not know that.
Yeah,
I am
except I
that.
don't think I don't think it was the Ted Cord Blue Beetle though. I'm pretty sure it was the other one, the younger
Oh,
guy.
hi, man.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, yeah. The reason why he couldn't do it, of course, it was retconned into it, is that like his exposure to Booster Gold had basically the quantum particles on his body was preventing him from being able to merge with the techno organic like elements of the scarab, so he just couldn't use it.
Wow, man, really sounds like they came up with an reason.
I know.
It's like, yeah, you know, the quantum and the biomech stuff just
But
doesn't work. I don't know.
at least it was a good reason, because like if you look at it, it's like he was given the scarab to be taken over by his mentor, and he was not worthy. And then of course Jaime, this young kid, after the fact, he got to use it.
Anyway, should probably
So,
get a little back on track here.
Yeah.
Good lore though. Good lore.
By the way, they said they're going to release some kind of vlogs on their website, so it's kind of telling you about the story. So
I'm curious to know how they're going to handle that, because and it's my experience when it came to like any game that had like development back things that has a blog and stuff, they lose steam. And I don't know if this development team will actually keep up with it, but like it almost always then they lose steam. Not to say that the devs have like they would do that or whatever, like that they would stop
yeah.
they would stop
It's not
doing
that they have a
it.
lack of ambition. We just don't know yet.
Yeah, we just don't know how that they would do it.
Right.
And it'll be interesting if that's the case,
Yeah, for sure. Because I find it interesting, because I think they can really dive into specific characters as well. It gives them a chance to actually bring DC to the front, and maybe it will make DC actually appreciate this game more.
Yeah. Here's my kind of standpoint on this, right? The fact that we're getting a storyline is impressive enough to me, where it's like, I don't care if it's bad, it's a step in the right direction. So even if this one's like a stinker, they can continue to improve it, and I think that that's a good thing.
That's always
Like it gives us a good base to work off of.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
there will also be like player response that they will adjust based off of that too. It's like, oh, this is not going to work that way, so we'll go this direction. And I'm sure they have multiple options and avenues that they can go down to make sure that it becomes a little more well received. Yeah.
What excites me though is they claim that this will be their darkest story arc yet, though. That's pretty cool for me, being my character, being Spawn. Like, I love the darker themed episodes, because it always means good styles and good base items for me to use.
Yeah, but then...
Everything we had so far is dark stories.
I feel like we've balanced dark and light pretty well. Like, I mean, because, like, so we had Sins of Black Adam, and then we had, Static Shock, right? And that was like a pretty lighthearted sort of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but then you had the entire metal story arc, which is completely depressing.
Well, sure, that was. I mean, yeah, but that was a story arc, like what they're doing now. So
significantly imbalanced towards like slightly darker themes, like the.
I probably just haven't noticed it as much because I like that kind of stuff, so I may be biased.
No, that's fair.
The creative team are usually the ones that make that decision on which direction they go. Like for a while there, we had a lot of magic for a significant amount of like time period.
Yeah.
So it just ebbs and flows in that regard. I don't know, like kind of want something that's extremely lighthearted.
Why shouldn't we go back to Gotham and fight Bane? Come on.
I mean, hey, if you want something extremely lighthearted, there's a Starfire's birthday or whatever for you. That's fine. A homecoming event, that's what it was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's your Teen Titans Go episode.
Yeah, we really need to go to Tamaran. I think it'll be really cool. We don't have Tamaran in the game.
We don't.
Nope.
I kind of feel like that would actually be also a very depressing one too.
Because of Blackfire.
Because of Blackfire and because of like the history of like Blackfire and Coriander.
Yeah.
Because they were getting off topic here.
It's fine.
It'll be interesting because look on that second picture. I'm just have it on the second screen here and looking at it.
It looks like sunshine and rainbows to me, man. I don't know.
It reminds me of like like Trigon stuff. Like, are we going to be revisiting Trigon?
I think it may be the DC versus vampire story.
Oh, no, thank you.
That would be cool.
I actually want to see.
I think deceased would be better personally, but if we have vampires, that's fine with me
That's
too.
even worse. I've read both of those. Those are
Look,
not good.
listen, man. Afterwards, you
Cut
can
off your
get your
brain
Teen
so
Titans
much.
Go episode. It's fine.
That V actually wants Buster Gold and Blue
Yeah,
Beetle
it's
DLC.
fine.
I mean,
think
JLI. You can just say JLI.
Yeah.
Sure. I think with the James Gunn movies, we're gonna get a lot of episodes that end up tying into the movies that are coming out at that current time.
And he does
Kind
want.
of like
Yeah.
kind of like sort of how we did with Black Adam, how like the Black Adam movie came out and then we got our episode like pretty soon after.
And James Gunn said he wants to focus on characters that people don't really know. So.
Right. I think there is a Booster Gold TV show or something that he's doing.
There is
Yeah.
a TV show. It's not quite in development fully yet. It's just been
Well, sure, most of it is, and it's just the idea of it exists, which is cool. And I mean, Creature Commandos just came out. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I want the
actually
Stussy
surprised
design.
I'm surprised they didn't do anything like style-wise or something like that in the game for it.
Yeah.
Because usually they have done recently a lot of those cross-promotion like styles or like
A little
something
bit,
going
yeah.
on.
It's like when the Batman came out with Robert Pattinson, that's when they gave us the Bat style
We got
headpiece and
Peacemaker helmet when Peacemaker came out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was a little bit after, but yeah.
Maybe
When
they
Black
were
Adam was
told.
a little bit. Black Adam was a little bit outside of the time of the movie came out, so it was they're around the same time. So
Yeah.
They either might still do it, or they maybe were told not to. Because Creature Commandos aren't even in the game, so.
Right.
yeah, but they could introduce like a style that has something that relates to one of the characters. You know, like you could have the Frankenstein head thing to give you as an example, or
Yeah.
or
I mean, that's where it gets sketchy for them, I think, right? Because they're only allowed to use what they're given permission to use, I believe, right? So
Yeah.
when they
What I
do stuff that
understand-
like kind of rides that border, it's like it's a little sketchy for them. You know what I mean? Especially when there's like a very clear intent for something. Like, I've said before, a lot of people want like a Superman like slimline chest where it has like the open neck and it gives you a really big emblem slot. And technically, that should be fine because it's not objectively Superman. You can use that for anybody if you wanted to. You can use it for an exabyte character. But if the intention is too clear that like it's Superman's chest piece, then like I feel like they'd get in trouble for that if they didn't get permission for it.
I mean, it was intended on the Blue Beetle chest style that you can't have a third channel for the line, so
Right.
a little sad on that part. But
Yeah.
but when it comes to what they get,
It was
permission
also
from
intended
them-
that they gave us a Spider-Man chroma, but we're not going to talk about that.
what they have the ability for capabilities of being able to do is within whatever is in the comic book like thing. They just have to get permission on how they distribute it. So like if something they say, oh, we want to make a Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle style that everyone will get, which they did, you know, what, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
That was the style that people voted on, right?
That
Yeah.
was the style that was voted on, but they had to get permission for. That's why it took forever to get it through the whole thing, because once they got permission, they had to go actually make it and all that stuff. So it was one of those moments of sort of like they had to just get permission to be able to actually do it. For this one though, for like the Ted Cord thing, it's obvious that there's something was said that they can't have it exact. Players cannot have the exact same style, even though the Jaime one was completely open. So it trades off, you know, I guess.
A lot of times it comes down to copyright holders.
Yeah, it's the
like,
same with the
lot of
Blackfire
people-
style. Yeah.
Especially with Superman stuff. Sorry, for bringing this up again with the Superman stuff, but I hear it a lot.
Yeah.
But like, so people will be like, okay, well, like I just had this interaction on Twitter. Someone was like, they should ask James Gunn about it. They'll fix it. The thing is, they don't see outside of Warner Bros. And outside of WB that there is an individual who holds the share for like Superman's rights and all that.
Yeah.
But it's the
Like the
family.
creators and the creators' family, yeah. And they're a lot of the
Producer
time
and
are incredibly strict about that stuff.
a lot of that had to do with the fact that like DC actually has to license the they actually have to license like Superman when they actually use it in the comics or movies, and they
Hmm.
also always have to have a Superman movie in the works. Like that's like part of the licensing thing
So
that Superman
that's
has
crazy
always.
to me.
Yeah, that one is that God. When I read that article about that in the early 2000s, when they actually won
Mm.
the family won the rights to it, that was one of those things. It was interesting because like Bob Kane, who created the Batman one, was not able to actually. Well, he didn't want to, and part of it had to do with the fact that when he created Batman, he actually technically was underage and he should not have been paid for it at the time. So that's
Yeah,
why he
there's
was.
also a lot more credit that goes to Bill Kane than there should be for Batman. We can get into that another time, though.
So and getting to something that is on there. How do you guys feel about these new base mods that are not base mod? Gear
The
mods, I guess.
tech mods, yeah, the gear
Ultimate.
mod,
It's called Ultimate Tactical Mode.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was a good idea, implemented the worst possible way. I'm gonna be honest.
Uh,
Making it pay per use is insane to me.
that's
And the
fair.
fact that you have to buy them in packs of 5, so you have to spend a minimum of $5 worth of marketplace cash
To
each
get one.
time you want a mod. Well, you get
To get one.
5. You get 5 in a pack, so they're
Yeah, but you get
they're a
one.
buck a piece,
Yeah, but you
I
get
which
one
is
though for
insane.
that pack. If like let's say you wanted to, Tumbling Master and the
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There's no like packs of like an assortment of them. No, it's
yeah.
you spend $5 and you get 5 of one individual of the mod. Yeah, I see what you're saying
But
now. Yeah.
I don't understand why they can't just like put them on there for $1 each. Like, why do we have to have them in packs only too? So like that's the
Make us spend more money, I guess. I don't know. I
yeah,
mean,
but that's the thing. Like you that's the whole concept of microtransactions.
hmm
A little bit goes a long ways. You get a lot of money if you sell a little bit at a time. If you sell them for like a buck a piece,
well, these
you're
are
gonna get
macro
sell a lot.
transactions, my friend.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like if you want to sell it for one each, and people will buy it. It's like, oh, I
That's
could do
still
that.
too much. That's still too much, in my
It
opinion,
is. I know.
honestly.
I agree. I wish they would have gone through and just
I'm
revamped the
hoping,
system.
hoping so bad that people don't buy them, so that way they realize that, like, maybe this wasn't the best move, you know what I mean? But there's gonna be people that shill out the money for them, and that
Of
upsets
course,
me.
the whales. And if you actually look at them, like they're not all of them are actually that good too.
And
Some
then
of
the
the
other ones are really good, man.
yeah,
Like, some of
the
them
head
are
mod,
genuinely, like, pay to win. Like, you
the
buy
head mod,
it, you will be top of the leaderboard, pretty much. Like,
tumbling
I
master,
think
head mod. Those two are really good.
I think
hmm
though, they should have probably went with an option to buy them in game, like in Doctor Fate vendor, for example. That will make it at least worth it for the membership.
I
hmm
Um,
wish they would utilize Fate when they introduce stuff like
yeah,
the Wolfpack
yeah.
mod thing. Let us save up our Fate tokens and be able to buy a Wolfpack. Like let us have that option. We're in the game. We are playing the game. Let us have that option. Give us the ability
So,
to keep
yeah.
trying.
that will keep us in game
The
too.
Fate vendor very much is becoming like, hey, we removed these things from the game so you can buy it here. Like, we don't have Prometheum log boxes anymore, so here, buy the styles from him. Or we removed the vault, so here's all the vault drops that you've spent years and years trying to get.
Yeah.
And I do kind of feel like that was created by the previous developers, and the new ones may not actually like the Fate vendor.
Mm.
Um, the
That
daily,
gives
the
them a
daily
chance to overhaul it then,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
the daily login definitely would be. I can see it being received, but the like that sort of that vendor may not be something that will be constantly be updated.
Yeah.
If not, letting it just be what it is now.
I think using the Fate vendor actually, because like to be fair, I did completely forget when I was just talking about it just now that also a lot of the stuff from the Fate rewards does go to Dr. Fate afterwards, like in 3 months or whatever. You get the
Yeah, it's
you
like
can buy the month rewards,
Yeah.
and that's cool. I will say that that's nice. Like that does give people a second chance to get something that they missed out on, but I still feel like there's definitely more potential for that vendor.
There's also some styles that didn't make it to Fate yet. Mostly new styles that came with gear and they didn't add them to Fate for some reason. Like the Lois Lane and Hand style, for example.
I think a
Yeah, I
lot of
guess
those they're
that is
reserving it
weird.
for something else. They're reserving that for something else because
Time
like we
capsule
didn't.
collection.
I don't know if it's something that will be monetized, but I think they're probably reserving it for something else because um the if you look at it, the only gear that you can actually get on there is the Fusionaut gear. You know,
Yeah.
that's literally the only one. And if you notice, any of the others that were just released through that were not.
Yeah, even
So,
the Wonder Girl style.
Mm-hmm. Isn't the Blue Beetle one now on the marketplace?
oh, is it?
I believe so.
Is it? Because they added
One
it to
second.
Dr. Fate.
The
I
Blue Beetle, the gear set, like the Jaime Reyes.
Yeah, it's on Dr. Fate.
Is it?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it is on Fate. It's a pack. Yeah, you can buy the pack
Mm-hmm.
on there. It should be there, but
Oh, I think
the
it's the enhanced one that's on the
No, they added the regular.
marketplace. Did
N-
they?
Yeah,
you can
that,
get the enhanced Scarab exoskeleton suit for 900. Or sorry, I guess it would be 1,000 station cash. Or sorry, I'm using an old antiquated word, daybreak cash.
Yeah.
You can
Yep.
tell how old I am because station cash was something that was what it used to be called.
years
Yeah,
ago.
I've never heard of that. I can honestly say I've never heard of that.
But I do want to say I may personally not get those modes, but I do plan to keep using the ones in game mainly because I think the system in game is probably better in the long term. Because I don't think it's a good idea to change the mode to one from the marketplace every time you drop a new gear piece. I'd rather just use the ones I get for free, and if I really want to, like on the elite gear or the vendor gear, then I can use them. But it's not something I see as a must, at least because I'm not playing elite all the time. So
I would say that
The
if you're not playing Elite, you probably shouldn't buy them.
yeah,
I
Absolutely, yeah. The only issue is like I feel like they're not that big of a deal, honestly, until it's someone like me, how I play on the US side. I'm like a pretty competitive DPS player. Like I'm not like always top of the leaderboard, but like I try my best to be a good DPS, right? And I like
yeah,
seeing myself on the top of the leaderboard, whether that be ego or just the fact that I like being a good DPS. But
that's
it
fair.
would suck to be like, oh, the only reason that I'm second place right now or third place right now is because these people have they shilled out $5 to get a tactical mod.
and that really is the FOMO of these things.
Yeah,
That's the intention of like any type of like microtransaction platform is that it's the fear of missing out. So you now have the want to um you would want to like,
it's
oh, I need one too, so I can make sure I'm the one that's going to be on top, you
right.
know?
It's also weird when it's like the only thing in the game that's like this right now, and I hope that that doesn't turn into a trend where a lot of things become like this, where you can only get them, and you could only ever have gotten them from the
Yeah,
marketplace.
from
If
putting
we're
real
ignoring
Yeah,
the
money.
fact that they gave it to us one time for free, and
there
congratulations, you put it on your gear. Cool,
there
that
was
you got your
precedent.
one used.
There was precedent before the Promethean lockboxes, as you mentioned earlier, was introduced very first time. They introduced like jewelry, so
Hmm.
neck and rings,
Uh-huh.
and they were very specific, like stat increase on them. Like they were better than any of the dropped gear or the vendor gear that was in the game. So you
Yes, I
kind of
remember
had
that being a thing actually a little bit. Yeah,
you had to actually like open up Promethean boxes to be able to actually get these things, and they were
that's
something
fair.
that was only in
I
the
wasn't
game.
thinking about that just because, I mean, pretty much as soon as I joined the game, maybe like 3 months after I became a member and never looked back. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I wasn't
members
thinking about the fact that
members
I don't
could
know.
always open them
I
for
guess I just
free.
assume most players have membership. You know what I mean? Like a
Yeah.
large majority of them probably do.
But I also
Um,
think that most players had membership, right? So at least they were able to open it for free.
right.
I think you
That's
could.
kind of what I
I
was
think you
saying.
could open. Yeah, members could open them automatically,
Yeah,
but if you were premium, you had to actually buy the key.
Yeah.
correct.
And
Why is the time
it wasn't.
capsules not like that? Would have made them
It,
so much better.
time capsules were. I did not like when they got introduced. The one thing that got me the most was like, why does it need feats? It doesn't need feats. These are styles. They don't need feats.
Yeah.
You know. Um,
Yeah,
the
that's fair.
when
Especially
those
the collections having feats. That's insane to me.
the Promethean
Like the
lockboxes
drop rates is insane.
was interesting though because like I think they realized that something like that was not a good idea. So they introduced all those things. They took them out of the Promethean lockboxes and just they put a bunch of styles in there that were not necessary in it. And put them into the vault. So you can actually get the rings and that during the vault. Matter of fact, you might still have a legacy one pop up there because it got missed in the current like seasonal vaults that we get.
Oh,
Oh.
that's cool.
I think I've gotten one recently. I don't know if I have. Like
I'm
I
so
know.
sad I got rid of it. Sorry for cutting you off. But I used to have it was like the small demonic wings style drop from the vault, but they're called Hellspawn wings, so I always kept them in my inventory. Just 'cause it's like,
Oh.
haha, I'm Spawn.
Yeah.
And I have the Spawn reference item in my inventory, but then I got rid of it for inventory space a long time ago.
Usually on my characters that are like themed after specific locations or characters in DC, even if they're not really iconic, I usually keep the related iconic stuff on them. If it's Wonder Girl's belt or Bane's belt, stuff like that, I'm putting them on the character it's related to. So
Hmm.
now years later, I actually delete them because it's useless to me. But that's what I used to do at least.
I still have a whole
Sure.
bunch of trinkets. I was a trinket hoard. Like I
Mm.
really, there's still quite a few of them on B's inventory. It's really terrible. They're all in my vault, in the bank.
How
Kind of
many?
fun.
Trinkets are all kind of cool though, especially like if you're hanging out with people that like it's like a party trick. It's like, hey, look what I have, but you didn't know this existed.
Well, I used to have ones that were like also like just random drop ones too, like that
Hmm.
were pretty rare. Like I had one that was,
Right.
of course, the infamous egg one that was from like tier two, the old tier two, and then like there was like a trinket that was like a little like a little gem, but it was a gray style, and so it looked like an actual like diamond. It was actually kind of cool, but I got rid of all of those when I realized that like they had changed the way the gear worked and it was just taking up space. But all
Fair
I have
enough.
now are just like
How many fireworks
trinkets
trinkets
for
do you guys have? The ones we got from Maps when he did the boss ones. Or the fireworks trinkets. There were 3
I
levels too.
I have the
I have
fireworks
some.
one, and that's about it. That's the only one I have.
There's
I
a
I have
never
a
did
few of
any
those.
of the like boss spawns or anything like that.
because there was
I have a
like
few of those.
yeah,
Not on.
purple,
I don't think
blue,
they have on this.
and green, right?
Yeah, I think there were different styles. Yeah.
Yeah, that
I
was fun. I miss when the devs did that. Like they randomly logged in game. I think Oceans was around 2 when they did it, and just drop bosses on every server and give people
I
gifts. Oh, we got a cake.
Wow.
Oh, you guys have no idea. Today I noticed when I was on YouTube, they recommended to me the stream when Speedo and Maps talked about the 4th anniversary of DCO, and I just realized we're going into the 14 years of DCO. So,
That's crazy. Yeah.
yeah,
And that was from the second year.
yeah.
Yep.
DCO is growing, yay!
Yeah. I was actually I got pretty happy. You guys on the server, and everyone should join the server, by the way, anyone listening to this.
Wait, server.
But when I the server that's in the description, the only one, the Discord one,
It has a name! It has a name!
Firefly Empire.
Yes. The Aline Bruce suggests we think about a new name.
Maybe.
Maybe.
but I did share this in the Discord server. But I was really happy when I found out that the recent the Absolute Batman comic I bought had the ad for the current DCUO episode on the back of it. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, this is still getting advertised. That's cool.
And it
Oh
should.
yeah, that's right. There was a few comics that got that promotion thing on that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I want to get one. I haven't been to a comic shop in a while, so when I do, I'll go.
I'm very jealous of Eve because you have all the fucking statues. The old DCO statues. I want them so bad. They're so cool, but they go for so much.
I had to sell my soul for the Wonder Woman one.
I would do the same. I would do the same.
They're so expensive. I'm still missing a few of them. I don't have Superman, Flash, Grandy, and Green Arrow. And actually, where my sister bought Zatanna for me, she said there was a Grandy too. So it was a choice. You wanted Grandy or Zatanna? I'm not getting you both.
Well, obviously you choose Zatanna.
Yeah. And I broke Zatanna's finger, so that's nice.
Oh no!
I was cleaning her from the dust and I broke the finger.
Yeah, sometimes plastic just doesn't age very well.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Joker got here with a broken nose, and Harley, the stage she stands on, it broke as well. It fell down when I picked her up. So
Dang.
it sucks. But I'm keeping Wonder Woman safe. You have no idea. Like, nobody touches Wonder Woman. She stays there.
Fair enough.
So this thing's been bothering me the entire time we've been talking. So like, camera, is it intended to be turned around?
Wait, what?
Like, this is the front of it. If you're, it's supposed to be aiming at the.
Wait.
Yeah. So these old cameras, this is the lens in the front. You're supposed to look in it on this side, and you're facing that direction.
That's
So
my
you're taking a
bed.
picture of a wall.
That's my bed.
Nah, it's fine.
I had no
'Cause
idea.
we got what's his name? I forget this dude's name. The dude that takes the pictures.
Yeah. Oh shoot! What is his name?
Right? What's his name?
It's
It's a
Freddy.
It's Jimmy thing.
Yeah.
I have a few of those here. They're taking the pictures.
It's Quizlet Int.
Quizlet's way better.
Look, okay, he's a really good artifact, but man, is he annoying.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah.
It's distracting when you're a spawn from hell and all you hear is.
And then I have the 25th century servo unit.
I see.
I don't even know what I have on this character. Let's see.
What other topics do I have to talk about? I mean, there's so much.
There we go. Something at least.
Right? I feel like we've been kind of babbling on about nothing for the past little bit now.
No, we talked about a lot of things. Wonder Woman is coming. The Ally is coming this week.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything of it. I need to watch your video.
I literally released it this morning, but okay. But yeah, she's coming out December 10th, and there is also Ally XP drop bonus week, and a marketplace sale. So the marketplace Ally tab will have like a 20% off.
Oh, is that like the Christmas sale?
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. We just got a sale.
We're getting a sale, I think, with every bonus they're doing.
I kind of feel like that they're doing something like that now. It's sort of, I mean, that they needed to do that a long time ago, and I don't understand why, other than like there's possibility that the higher ups were saying, like, no, we don't need sales all the time.
They're
Yeah.
monetizing more stuff now, so it's kind of like yeah, we're monetizing more stuff now, but you can buy it for this reduced price.
Well, I mean,
How do you feel,
yeah.
how do you guys feel about the trickle in feats and content that they've been doing as well? Like they seem to be ramping it up in this last couple DLCs. It's been noticeable.
No, wait, they're adding them later?
where it's like yeah, throughout the episode they like drop more stuff.
We
I
are
don't know, it feels
getting...
the only thing I can see for it is that it gets people to keep playing it for a bit longer time, because otherwise people get all the feats in like the first week, and then it's like, okay, I'm done with the episode now. Now what do I do?
Yeah,
Yeah, and they found they've tried that in the past though, where they're doing a monthly content. Please don't ever come back. Um, the they tried that before, and it didn't really do what they wanted it to do. And for that
Mhm.
matter, a lot of these feats are for like solo stuff, which can be done in like a day or something like that if they want to, and then be done again. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
I believe Multiverse said something similar on one of his videos recently. I think it was his Ultimate Tactical Mods video, where a
Mhm.
lot of times the new devs will try to do things that the old devs has tried before, whether they don't realize that they've done it before and it hasn't worked, or they think they know maybe a little better. But that has happened in the past.
This happens in every game, I feel. Like they're always gonna
Yeah.
try again.
Yeah. I guess it can't hurt to try a second time. Maybe the audience is different now.
Yeah.
Uh,
The,
if you try it slightly different, maybe it'll get a better impact.
Right.
It's kind of like how originally when the styles were put on the marketplace, they put on styles that were just god awful. No
yeah.
one ever would want to buy, and they're like, "Oh, no one wanted to buy them." It's just like, yeah, of course, because no one wanted to buy those, you know.
Right.
And then they
Yeah.
went on to something else, and it was instead of like trying again with a little bit better quality or better like styles that people would want, because like, well, who
They
would want
literally did
full?
it. They've done a few now where it's quite literally they do it again, but a little better quality. Look at the revamped Dark Spectre batsuit.
Uh, yeah, but in that regard, though, that's also part of the boost too.
Hmm.
So you can either buy the style or buy the gear, or you can buy the boost and get it with it, if I remember correctly. So it yeah, but then you got to compare that to like the full top hat and tails bling suit. Like really, who would want that? You know?
As
I
you
think I
wanted.
saw one person who would buy that, and that was I think Magician was their name. I don't even know if they play the game anymore. They were the only ones that ever bought that, and they only wore it for a little while. They went back to the non bling version. So
You
Also,
know, it's funny. There's always there really is an audience for anything though. Um, I'm
yeah.
an example of that because oh my god, I don't know if you guys remember the backlash when the Munther Award was the Mad Hatter hat,
I
but
I mean there was a
no one liked
backlash.
that.
They also had a backlash when
And
they did the which NPC it was. They did a doll of because that was also upsetting people. Oh, the kite accessory.
the kite
oh yeah,
accessory was
yeah,
probably the least
yeah.
favorite of mine, but there was no problem with it.
I really liked the Mad Hatter top hat though.
Well, I mean
I
that's
think it was
fair.
genuinely a nice style.
I think the biggest backlash was to the when they did the Two Face face style, and the Bat inspired, which were both from the hack ones.
Yeah, right.
I did
Those
want to
were those
say
were ones
though.
that I could see
Yeah.
as being a backlash. But I'll be honest, like I had zero problem with those. I had zero problem with any of these
Same.
things. Like,
Hmm.
sure, would I want something else? Absolutely. But would these are
But
these something that people never going to be able to get? And also, absolutely. So it's like, yeah, they're
s-
there. We can get
someone
them.
out there always wants something, so they can't make everyone happy,
I
unfortunately.
want I want Legends Batman. I'm still salty that that is considered a um,
Yeah,
pre-order, and I
yeah.
don't understand why it was ever a pre-order. Like you can't have the original Batman that's in the game.
And the CW
It's a bit weird,
Supergirl.
yeah.
But this
Now
was a
the
cover
Supergirl
ID
one,
issue. Yeah.
the Supergirl one. Fun fact about that one is I was waiting till payday to buy that and the Superman emblems, the Batman versus Superman emblems, and literally the day before my payday, they had pulled them because of whatever license problem that they had. I was
Hmm.
like,
Rah.
really?
It's so frustrating.
That's one of the unfortunate things to happen for a lot of people because like they were supposed to be an indefinite add-on to the game, but
Yeah. But I guess this is what the license they have doesn't cover, which is the movies. So
Yeah, license is literally only the comic book stuff. That's why we
yeah,
could never have a Batman Beyond um like DLC, and we can only have a quote unquote inspired suit.
yeah.
So,
Hmm.
Now, I did
even
want to
though
say for your question about the way the DLC is done now, I'm always happy there's more to do. Although I think the gear should be harder to get in general. It shouldn't take me 1 or 2 days to get the gear. I should have something to do over time until the next episode comes out.
I
It's
I
fair.
think I think let's wait and see where these chapters are going to go when it comes to gear progression.
Yeah,
I kind of feel like they're going to be stretching out the gear progression. I really do feel that way, but I don't know for sure.
yeah.
Um, the original, the way that the game was, and I'm sure Spawn, who is away, be careful, wiggle your mouse so you don't get
Appreciate it.
don't do what I did. Uh,
Yep, yep. Good looks, good looks.
if you were around during the time before we had the changes to like content, like if you came around to like maybe uh Battle for Earth time period or earlier, you'll know that like the gear progression was through a whole like tier. But after Battle for Earth, I should say probably when Hand of Fate came out, like it became micro tiers. Like that they had like sort of like each DLC had to like outdo the last, and it kind of one of those things that it's missing from an MMO is that sort of overarching gear progression that because we don't do the XP thing like a lot of other games do, where our gear is our progression. So like instead of it having like something that we can build up towards, we
Gear and
don't
skill
really
points, yeah.
yeah, we don't really have that anymore. Like it's sort of like you get it to the point where you can go into the next DLC and then you're good. You don't have to
Pretty
actually go
much.
further if you want.
We lost that.
Yeah.
That was the one thing we lost with the stack clamp, and that's the only like argument against the stack clamp that I can agree with is that it we get all this armor correct just so we can get to the next episode pretty much, and then depending on like basically pretty much if you're just a DPS and trying to be top DPS, otherwise you can do your job as your role. You
Yeah.
want to get the best armor just so you can have the best stats, but that's about
Well,
it.
stat clamp there are so many things that could have been done instead of the stat clamp, but I understand why they did it.
Hmm.
The biggest thing, the reason why that the stat clamp is I'm okay with is because it made old content relevant, and that was something that I've always wanted them to try to do is
Right.
either up level the like the content or make it
You know what?
something.
You know what I think nailed making old content relevant? The outsider ops that we just had. That was awesome. I liked how they handled that a lot.
In argument, you could say that Save the Universe kind of did the same thing. I did not like that they
Yeah,
were taking
that's fair.
content that was never elite and try to make it elite because they could not balance it right. Like the
Yeah.
Right.
Batcave, the you know the fortress. Those didn't do so well when they became elite, but the ones that were already elite did fine.
Hmm.
But yeah, will we ever get will we ever get Save the Universe again, or are they just going to be going towards Outsiders? You know, like we didn't get it at all this year, even though it was on one of the producer timeline things that they had. What made a
Yeah.
decision on that change? You know, that's something to question about.
It could
Would we be?
literally just be a matter of they were working on so much stuff that they forgot. They just forgot to activate it.
I think it's
Yeah,
more
but they
that they didn't have the time to actually work on it because they're planning so many things right now. I don't know if they even hit everything for 2025. Like even the recent producer letter has too many things. I can't see them doing it all at once.
No,
but
definitely
the
not.
question is that like where did they make the distinction between ops and save the universe? They're essentially the same thing. Where the save the universe is closer to a way a DLC would be, where the ops is like, okay, you do old content, you get enough gear, enough marks to go buy the feats that go with it instead. That's where that's where it's like I kind of feel like they are getting rid of the save the universe, and it's sort of a system that's just gonna fall to the wayside. Who knows if they'll grant everybody the feat or not?
There's
So
also styles that you can get right now.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
Maybe just make
so
Reap Hunter available all the time and let us convert the currency to source marks and then don't
or
have to.
just make save the universe save sort of a cycling thing, like just all the content that was already there, just let us be able to have access to it and be done with it, like Legends PVE or PvP or something like that. Something that's just in the game. Just let it fall to the wayside. If we want to
Isn't
get
this
defeats, we can get defeats, and then just move forward with the new thing.
No, but
Like,
isn't this what they actually talked about with the eventing they're going to do? Because it's going to be cycling or something better than what it is now. They did talk about it. Brand new event system.
Gotcha.
Campaign,
Yeah.
campaign 2025, they're going to call it. Offer players a chance to complete multiple events throughout the year to earn mega prizes that we know you love.
yeah, so that is going to be a new system. That's not going to have anything in the old. These
Yeah.
are going to be what they are creating. The question
I
is,
think
what are
that
they
that's a
going to do
really
with
good
something?
idea, if especially if that's continuing somewhat, maybe even at a bigger scale, which would be cool, of what they've been doing with the sort of mini events that they've been giving us, Outsider Ops being one of them. Same thing with the Wonder Woman and Batman Day stuff. That was really cool because that gave us stuff to do when the game would have been dry otherwise.
Yeah. So I do hope that means that players can actually have easier time to catch up, or if they're just coming back or they're new players. There's so many stuff to get from seasonal vendors, so if it's actually helping them, that's a good
Or
thing.
just giving us stuff to do. Literally just giving us stuff to do is
Yeah.
great.
We want you in game 24/7. Don't go to work.
I'm not so
I
sure if it's going
mean,
to be cut and
look,
dry as that.
if people did it for the name reclaim, they can do it for the rest of the game. It's fine.
So,
Yeah.
but that'll be for chapters. So that's the new content. I think they're going to give us so much content, or I should say, things to do in a day that we won't have enough time to do all of it. Like
Yeah.
it's. I think they're
God,
going
I
towards
hope
more.
so. That sounds like my dream.
I want stuff to do. I have nothing to do.
Right.
I'm
I
decorating
have
all
no complaints
day.
with that.
I mean, there's a lot of things you can do, but some people have day jobs too.
Yeah, but I don't know. I
Sure.
just kind of rather get new things that I can focus over time and feel accomplished when I finish them. Like, it's different when I'm doing something, an achievement, for example, in Guild Wars 2, and when I earn a feat in DCO, because in DCO, the feat can just pop out of nowhere, but the achievement in Guild Wars 2 actually takes time until you can get it. It's not easy. So that's something I actually want to see here as well. You may not have to be reliant on other people, but you can still show your skills to complete feats. So
Kind of just sounds more grindy than anything, though. I mean, I
yeah,
like the
but
idea,
yeah,
but I feel
I,
like that would just turn into what we already have, which is like squish 555 red, green, and blue bugs in Sins of Black Adam. It's like,
I mean,
okay.
there's also the option of making base items by crafting them, which is how they're doing it in Guild Wars 2. But I don't think TCR players will want that. Though it's
I
fun. You can like
No
craft.
thanks.
No, it's easier
I
actually
like
to
the peanut
get.
butter.
No, let me explain. You can actually get the same item. Like you can craft as many as you want of the same item as soon as you have the materials. Instead of having to check the broker, let's say all the time, or having to buy the same item all the time, because sometimes they're not available, they're dropped. So if you can craft this item, you actually can have like 50 at once. You don't have to wait until you get the next one. So that's kind of why I think it can be an additional system that can actually help with base items.
Something that I'm worried about is them going towards a model that has like temporary feats and progression. If you miss it this year, you're never going to get it, and I don't want
Yeah, a
them to
lot
go
of
that.
people are worried about that. Actually, I have heard that concern, and I would
It,
agree that that's not fair for other
Yeah.
people.
that was something that I'm glad that they rectified, but like they were trying to do that with the PvP seasonals that they were having. They had styles that were very specific to those that were not supposed to come back. but when they adjusted the PvP and you can get the styles now with source marks and stuff, you can actually get those styles, so they're not
It's the same thing with the old survival mode stuff too, right? There's some survival mode stuff
Yeah.
that you're just never gonna be able to get, like that one like Trigon chest style or whatever. I'm a little salty. I'll never get that.
Yeah.
Try. What about the layer stuff? You know, like
Mhm.
there's a lot of fun stuff in the that was just straight just for survival mode.
Yeah,
that
The
won't
Green
be-
I'm still
Lantern base
hoping that we'll
items.
get some sort of compensation for the fact that we don't get survival mode anymore, like any sort of way to get any of those base items because I need them. But
Yeah.
I do kind of wish that these antiquated like systems that they would just either grant the
I
things
would
or
sprinkle some content from survival mode in all these new
repurpose
events. Yeah,
repurpose it.
literally.
Just it's like all this stuff from the 2014 Trigon. What I think it
I
was
just want to
2014, right?
say, in the next year, like just as an idea, right? In the next year, they could 100% justify adding all of the damned base items to the Halloween vendor, and that's all they would have to give us, and no one would complain, I don't think. People would be
Oh
like,
no,
oh, it's not new stuff, but still, it's a whole bunch of stuff that we didn't have access to previously because of that. Like, that would be great.
there will always be somebody to complain, but there will always be people
Sure.
that need them.
Yeah.
And the
Right.
fact that like they could just, or they could just use cheetah. We have those new
That part.
tabs thing for
Just
the
that
pages
part.
that go back and forth.
Just
Just
that
just
part.
tab
With
just
Cheetah,
tab
just give
over
it to Cheetah.
just tab over to cheetah for the 2014 Trigon or 2015 whatever.
I
Like
wanted
Whatever that
give me
last one was.
the
The training sim.
I'm still waiting on the sandstone flooring and ceilings to be added to Cheetah. It's so hard to get them because it's from the old Fortress raids, and I'm so annoyed they're never on Cheetah. You can never have
Yeah.
enough. Yep.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
that's right. With the last one, I ended up having to. Our league really worked towards getting to the uh, what is it, Cosmic Boy, to get the title of the Legion, because our league on
uh,
the
Hmm.
hero side is of the Legion.
yeah.
Oh, sorry, 13 Legion. So we were really excited about.
Yeah. That would be
That's
really
awesome.
cool. I would love to have like any kind of like variant subtitle or title for our characters. That'd be cool.
I mean, when my name was Zoe, I remember in the 10th anniversary, they literally added an NPC you could talk to in the raid. It's called Zoe. So people always screenshotted it and sent it to me.
That's funny.
Yeah.
A rare dead name drop? That's crazy.
Yeah, and I asked if it's because of me, and I never got an answer.
Yeah.
It was kind of obvious, though, because why else would you put an Amazon named Zoe in there?
We're not saying that it's the content creator or a reference to them, but it might
You
be.
both are aware.
Yeah. Oh, man.
We're not
You both are
saying
aware.
what the intended use for this webbed chroma is, but we are making the one with the blue accent color the rare one.
That's fair.
That'll always be my one thing I think is hilarious about this game. That is like peak comedy right there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything for today, right? At least from what we know is coming.
there-
And
I mean,
Any
I could talk
concerns?
for hours, but
I know, but I need to go soon as well.
understandable.
I guess
yeah.
before we wrap up, is there any concerns that you guys heard in your leagues that might be something to talk about?
Galaxy haven't talked a lot about it. Just when we actually were running a raid together when the letter dropped, so they kind of sold read it to everyone, and everyone was like, "Cool, I want to see where it goes." They want to see it first before they judge anything, and they're open to changes. So
You named the one big concern that was in my league, which is just that the chance for feats and stuff that it literally is just like you will miss out if you don't get it this time around. Like that was
Yeah,
the
that's
number
the big
one.
one. That's the big one and running around in
That
our
is
league.
yeah, same here. So
now, what about the rewards they did for Wonder Woman Day and Batman Day, like the call and the tiara and stuff like that? Are they gonna come back? Because it sounds like they were at one
yeah,
time.
Exactly. That's kind of yeah. That's exactly the same concern where it's like, well, why are these called 2024 coins? Why aren't they just Batman Day coins? That's
Yeah,
concerning.
yeah. I hope they come back. I know a friend of mine want the bracelets, so
Yeah.
yeah. If they don't come back, a lot of people will be disappointed.
I want that Batman cowl, but I missed out on it.
Same.
But okay.
I wasn't playing enough, and I wasn't gonna spend money to get the call. But Wonder Woman is another thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
I did.
that
I got
part.
all those. I got all of those. I played them every day. And I didn't replay any. Yeah, I didn't replay any either. So it was I did what they were intending it for it to be, is just be there every day. It's
Yeah.
one of those moments
Well,
that's sort of like,
congratulations.
yeah, right.
When they had.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
no, it's one of those moments that's sort of like I don't really care on how they're doing the seasonals as well. Like it's a seasonal, like that's not part of the game. It's meant to just be on the side. Like why does it take? It's like what 400 marks to get everything this for this winter seasonal, which was one
Yeah.
of the more fun ones. Like
Hmm.
why do we have to spend, if we're playing on one character? Why do you have to spend the entire time of the whole month that it's out there to be able to get everything? Why
Well,
can't
you
I
can
get
do what
them,
I do. Ignore it until next year.
or just open up your wallet? Those are options as well.
No, with
But
Wonder
I'm
Woman
good. I'll just
Day,
wait till next year.
with the Wonder Woman Day event, as soon as I saw that they put the Wonder Woman iconic solo, Aegis of Truth, I was playing it all day. I couldn't skip it. It's my favorite. I ran it too many times to count, and I was so happy when I saw they put it as part of it. I know people don't like playing as iconic characters, but for me, that's the closest I have currently to a Wonder Woman game, so for me it was very fun. So I ran it
you're
all
talking
day.
Well, like
two
it.
guys that are on either side of you that are playing iconic comic book characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part.
Yep. I mean,
We'll really have to do this on the U.S. server next time.
yeah.
God, I look so ugly here.
I mean, I have a Raven character. I used to be Donna Troy. I used to be who was the character? Yara Floor. I used to be Grail. I used to do so many characters. I don't really play much as iconic anymore. I have my Raven. That's about it. Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
fun. I think sometimes. But
Listen, it's the closest thing I'll ever have to a Spawn game, so that's why I do what I do. Same. That's the same reason why you like the Wonder Woman solo so much.
yeah. And there's the Blue Beetle game, so
Yep.
Yeah, Ted has made only slight appearances in a couple. Like, what was it? The last thing he was put into the game was just like cat canceled right afterwards.
yeah.
Sounds about right.
Let's hope
Yeah.
that's not a curse.
Oh god. No.
Well, I'm canceled already anyway. Just
Yeah.
as a person, I'm canceled, so
Mona
it's fine.
Spawn Lisa, yes. And we have Danger, who's also cancelled now. They cancelled
Yep.
AI. We're canceling everyone in the community.
Yep.
Oh man. Well, thank you guys for joining me today.
Of course.
Yeah, so
Oh, well, of course.
Spawn and BumblingB will be usual on the podcast. We are hoping to be able to interview some devs at some point, but we're gonna just get the topics going as we go. And Proxy will join us next time. He usually is going to be with us as well. He just couldn't make it today. We love you, Proxy, and I'm really sorry I messed up with the timing. Get angry, guys, and we'll see you all in the next one. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.